Anytime you're creating a website, it is really important to make sure that it's going to look great to people, whether they're viewing it on a desktop browser or on a mobile device. So let's talk about this for project broadcast landing pages. So in this video, I'll give you a couple of little tips related to editing your page so you can make sure it's going to look great and give a great experience to all of your viewers, no matter how they're looking at your page. So the challenge is this. We create and edit our designs for our landing pages on a desktop device, but I would wager that most of the time your audience is looking at your content on a mobile device. And phone browsers are going to interpret content a little bit differently. Things that look a certain way on desktop are going to end up being stacked differently, or they might be sized a little differently when they're viewed on mobile. And that's a good thing, but you want to make sure that you don't have any surprises. You want to make sure that the way things are viewed on mobile doesn't suddenly get super weird because you forgot to anticipate it. So I'm going to walk you through a quick 3-step process to follow anytime you are creating a project broadcast landing page or editing one. You will first need to know how to preview your page. You want to know how it's going to look on mobile. Then you tweak anything that needs tweaking, and then you save, you go back and test your result, and repeat as needed. So let's start with step 1. When you are designing for mobile, how do you actually see what your audience is going to see? Well, method A is kind of the quickest. It's what you can do when you're just in the middle of editing, and that is to use the preview. You can toggle to look at the mobile screen, but I just want to warn you that this is not a perfect preview. It's good for just a quick spot check while you're editing, but not everything is actually going to behave on that mobile preview the same way it will out in the wild. I've talked about this elsewhere. If you ever have especially code on your page, it might not execute in the preview. Don't let that alarm you. Just know that, okay, I need to go with method B. And so method B is to actually go to the link, go to the URL of your landing page, and you can either open it actually on your real life mobile device to see how it will look, or you can even do this on desktop. Do that. I'm just going to right click and select the word inspect. You can ignore all this stuff on the right side, but over here on the left, when I see my preview, I can select different ways to view it, and I can even drag the page to see how it will adjust to different dimensions of screens. So that way you can kind of squeeze it down and see, how does this look? How does my content like rearrange itself when it is viewed on a different shape screen? Okay, so now we are looking at a preview, and step 2 is just to see, does anything look amiss? Does anything like not quite look the way that I want it to here? So a common thing that I like to adjust for with mobile is what's called stacking. So here's an example. I have these 4 images and captions going across the page on desktop. That's great. But on mobile, they get stacked. And that's fine. I mean, that's part of mobile design. The browser anticipates that, well, we don't want to shrink this content down really small, so instead we stack it so it's more easy to see. But I kind of feel like these are getting bigger than I wanted them to be. They were supposed to be just kind of like almost a banner going across, just some visual interest between one block and another block. I didn't really want them to suddenly like take over the whole screen and be all this content to scroll through. Well, this is one thing that I can adjust in my editing screen. So if you don't want something to stack, all you have to do is go to the mobile view here in the editing screen, and I select that row that content is on. I can scroll down and select Do Not Stack on Mobile. So now let me hit save and refresh my screen and see how this works. So I can see now that when the screen shrinks down, these images will as well. Okay, so I took care of that not stacking. But I want to talk to you about another option that you can have with editing for mobile, and that is hiding. So here's what hiding means. You can actually have 2 copies of your content in your project broadcast landing page, where one copy is what will be displayed to desktop users, the other copy will be displayed for mobile viewers. And you indicate inside your design screen which is which. So an example of this would be if you want to have a horizontal graphic for your desktop viewers, but you want mobile viewers to see a square graphic, something like that. You can actually pick and choose, and you can have both graphics actually living on your page, but one is hidden on desktop and one is hidden on mobile. So here's how this works specific to our example. Maybe I'm feeling kind of Goldilocks here. I didn't like this stacking all the way with all 4 of these images stacked, but I also feel like they do get kind of itty bitty when they are shrunk down to a mobile screen when I decided not to stack them on mobile. So I want to go in the middle of that. I want to have it go 4 across the original plan for my desktop users, and for mobile viewers, I want to have 2 and 2. Well, I can do that. I'm going to set up 2 distinct versions of this content in my page. So here's my original, 4 images in a single row. And now I'm going to create a version right under that for mobile. Now this looks super weird right now. It looks like my content is going to show twice, but here's the key. Next, I have to tell Project Broadcast that this version on top is for desktop only. So I will click on it here, and in the mobile, with the mobile view selected here, I scroll down and select Hide on Mobile. So my mobile viewers will not see this version at all. Now for my content that I want to only show on mobile, I don't want it to double up and be seen by desktop viewers. I need to click back to my desktop view and tell Project Broadcast that I want this to be hidden. I don't want it to be seen for desktop viewers. So I can do that for all these images that are for mobile only. So now as a result, my page is going to display one version or the other based on the dimensions that it finds itself in. So let's look at this in the real world. I've saved my design. I'm going to refresh here to see the new version, and as expected, I only see one version here. It's the desktop version, 4 going across, but what happens if I'm down in a mobile screen is popping down to option number 2 there. It is showing just 2 sets of 2 images. So I just did step 3 there, the final test of hitting save on my changes, going back to my page, previewing it, making sure that it looks just right for the look that I'm going for. And that does it. I hope that these quick tips help you to feel super confident that your page is going to look great to every single viewer. If this was helpful, please share this video with a friend and make sure to hit the subscribe button for more tech tips and creative ideas for your business.